Nick with Cruise and Family here. We recently visited New York City and we stayed at the Millennium downtown. This is our review. So to start off, I want to share a little bit about the hotel. It is located at 55 Church Street, New York, New York, 10,007. The check-in time for the hotel is 4 p.m. and the checkout time is 11 p.m. It is situated across from the Westfield World Trade Center, the Oculus as it's known. It is situated across from the Westfield World Trade Center, and it's one of New York's leading retail and dining destinations. It has over 13 lines converging into stations within a walking distance of it, which really puts you within easy transportation to anywhere in New York City and specifically Manhattan. The Oculus is a world famous landmark. It's easily identifiable, and if you can't identify it with that, right next to the Oculus is the 9/11 pools, and catty corner is the One World Trade Center. So we booked 2 queen room, and it came with 2 queens, a desk, a chair. There is a closet and a separate bathroom. I found the beds to be very comfortable. We have a nice bed at home, so it's hard sometimes to compare with beds when you're traveling. But the one here at Millennium was comfortable. I would say definitely something that most people are going to find comfort with. Some of the amenities of the hotel, obviously the location is an amenity. I've already talked about that, and it really was spot on. We were there for 5 days. It was easy for us to get to and from locations like Dumbo, Central Park, Times Square, Rockefeller Center. It was in a short distance from all of these places. And if you're going to ride the subway, it's even closer than what we did. We used Uber, and I know that that's not advisable. Most people are like, that's going to be way too expensive, and maybe it was. But for our family, we found it to be our way to go. But it's within most of the major lines for the subway, so you'll easily be able to get there. And then also the ferry, the Staten Island ferry is close by, as well as the Brooklyn Bridge, being able to go over to Brooklyn. Talking about some of the other amenities, when we did research on the hotel, we believed that there was going to be a pool. The hotel right now, I'm making this on June 16th, 2025. We were there at the end of May. The pool was not open, and I would say there are other missing amenities that you would probably expect. Their business areas open, and when you go online and you read about Business Day, people are pretty impressed with the place, but do know that they don't have a pool on site, and food, while it's readily available very close by, is not in the hotel. You're not going to be able to do that room service through the hotel. You're going to go somewhere outside of the hotel. All right, I want to talk about the AC. So we're from Arizona. We use the AC probably more than we should, but I don't feel like we were using it too much. Each night we had a big problem. The first 2 nights we had a big problem with our air conditioner. There was a high-pitched squeal, almost like what you would hear in a car engine. We did report it after or during the first night, and then the next morning it continued into that second night. They came in and did fix it. So for about half of our stay, we did have to try to sleep with high-pitched squealing in our room, which is a big deal. As I said before, the hotel is being renovated right now, so if you're going there, do expect some of their feathers, do expect to have to live through some of that process. Part of the hotel is just boarded off because they are, again, renovating it. Their front desk right now was on not deck four, sorry, level 4 of the hotel. It does look like they are working to make sure that it's down on that ground floor. But right now, in late spring 2025, I would say be prepared to live through some of their renovation. The location is wonderful. It's an awesome spot. We were there during the Eastern Conference Finals for the NBA. They had a viewing party over at the Oculus. Literally, like right there, you walk out of the hotel and you're at the watch party within 90 seconds, which was cool. But also with that comes the reality of lots of people being around. And something that we noticed on a daily basis, the first day we're there, it got really bad throughout the week, and that was the odor of marijuana, not just on the street around the hotel, but also in the lobby. And this wasn't a reoccurring theme in other places that we went to. New York, we didn't feel like that was something that was prevalent, like in lots of other places, because we went to lots of places in New York. But for our hotel, it seemed like there was probably either someone that lived close by that used the walkway around it for their smoking, or perhaps individuals that were at the hotel that were smoking marijuana. We did report that as well. It never really seemed to get better. It only got worse. I will say I didn't notice the smell on our level. We were pretty high up. I think floor 23, something like that. But just to be aware that it doesn't seem like they've done a good enough job of the ventilation, at least in the makeshift ground level area, to be rid of that. And hopefully soon that won't be an issue. Hopefully their renovation will allow them to be able to move away from that. But for our experience, that's a little bit of a part of what we experienced. So I just want to make sure to communicate that in our review of the hotel. All of the elevators worked really well during our stay. They moved quickly. It didn't feel like they were too wobbly. Sometimes you get into an elevator and it feels like, are we going to make it up? That sort of thing. We never felt that way. But one thing about the hotel, which is a nice security feature, is there is in 2 of the 3 elevators, there was a place to put your key to be able to go up to your floor. And without the key, it wouldn't go up. Oddly enough, though, there was one elevator that you didn't need that with, which I found that strange. That if they were going to do it here, that they would have put them into all the elevators, and perhaps that is part of that renovation. And I mention this because not every floor needed it. We would get into the elevator, it would start going up. We would push our floor and it wouldn't light up, but other floors would. So, but they felt secure. That's a positive. All right. So if you know anything about our channel, you know that we are a family of 5 that travels. We do reviews a lot on cruises, some on the locations that we go to. Obviously, this wasn't a cruise. But I'm going to talk about the family friendliness of the hotel itself. I would say if you're a small family, it's definitely family friendly. You're within walking distance of the subway. We did go into the Oculus where one of the subway entrances were located, and it was very clean, very easy to get from the Oculus onto that subway. We didn't go through the doors, obviously, because we weren't going to go use the subway. But having a clean entrance for the subway is a positive. Having an easy entrance for the subway is a positive, definitely for families. That it was a bit of a maze to be able to get onto the different levels with specifically strollers over there. And I would imagine back at our hotel as well, that would be the same. The Millennium hotel, I was just talking about elevators, but the elevators, you could fit, our whole family could fit in there plus another full family. So if you had a stroller, you'd be good to go with that. If you're, like I said, a small family, it's going to be okay. For a family of 5, we probably should have booked a different hotel. We probably should have booked in another location. And I'm under the impression from what other people have talked about, lots of New York City hotel rooms are smaller, on the smaller side. We didn't have the ability to bring in like a sleeping object or like a rollaway or anything, which was a little bit of a downfall for us, but we made it work. The 5 of us made it work. So having no pool, I think is a drawback. I think that if you're a family looking at a hotel, that's probably going to be a priority. You don't go to New York to swim in a pool, but if you're a family that is visiting New York, you're only going to be able to be in and doing those touristy things for the amount of time that your family can handle it. So I would say lacking that pool does kind of bring down the family friendliness. So I would say yes, this is a family friendly hotel if you're a small family, or if your children are older. But I would also caution you to see how important that is for you. If you're more than 3, I would definitely suggest trying to get into one of their suite rooms. We weren't in a suite, and we've still managed to make do of it for 5 days. So it's not that overly bad. But for the central location, I would say for a family, this is definitely a good spot to come to. So, all right, I'm gonna wrap things up here. I want to say thank you so much for watching and listening to me. If you do have questions about the hotel or the area in specific, that downtown area, we spent a lot of time there during our trip. Obviously, I'm not a local, so you're not going to get a local's perspective. You're going to get a tourist's perspective. But I'm more than willing to answer your questions. If you found something informative here or helpful to you, consider giving us a thumbs up. If you're new to our channel or you've been hanging around watching us and like what we have to say, consider giving us a subscribe. And at the very most, ask those questions. Let me know what I can do to help your process. The whole reason for the channel is to provide resources for our community. So please let me know how I can help. And thank you guys so much, and I'll see you around, okay? Bye.